Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, I've just arrived in London. I've just arrived at Notting Hill Gate tube station. I'm going to have a wander around this area and see what sort of photos we can get. It was sunny in Milton Keynes when I left, and it's a dull, overcast day down in London. I've bought a different camera with me today. I bought the Ricoh GR3X, which has a 26.1 fixed focal length, really designed for street photography. So the 26.1, that's the equivalent of about 40mm on a full frame, as this camera is a crop sensor, so it's got the same size sensor as the Canon M50 that I normally use. But anyway, hope you enjoy the video and I'll catch up with you later. I thought I'd interrupt this video because out on this particular trip I didn't take any POV video. The purpose of me going down to London was mainly to meet a family member, so I didn't want to take lots of gear with me. So that's why I decided to take the Ricoh GR3X. That's this little camera. It's a nice little pocket camera that is great for those occasions where you don't want to take too much. Now I know, I'll just show you this, that the Canon M50 Mark II is quite a small camera, and you'll see the difference. I've got the 22mm pancake lens on this one, and of course, although it's small, you just can't put it in your pocket, whereas this camera is a real good pocket camera. Now interestingly, they both have the same size sensor. They are both crop sensor or APS-C. I still prefer going out with the Canon M50 Mark II. That's because I'm so comfortable with it. I've got used to changing the settings if I need to quickly. I know where things are, whereas this one I don't use very much, albeit very good, and it's a great size. I have to try and remember where everything is. The focal length of this is 26.1, which is equivalent to about 40mm on a full frame camera. Now the shutter speed, that does adjust itself according to your aperture. Out of interest, this does turn on very quickly. If I just show you, that's on, and see how quickly that's ready to take a picture, and that's off really quickly, which is great because I can walk around the streets with this one and I don't have to leave it on, because the battery life, to be honest, isn't brilliant on this. So I've got a couple of spare batteries I always take with me. Because it's such a fast startup, I can say, there's something over there, press the button and it's ready to take. There's no viewfinder, so it's out in front of me, ready to view through this screen at the back, which is not a tilting screen, so that's something that, you know, I've had to get used to if I use this one, whereas with the Canon I've got the nice articulating screen. It is what it is. Everything's quite handy. I've had to purchase, actually, a lot of people do for this one. Let's just show you this little gadget here, which is good for your thumb up here, so it just goes into where the flash would go, the hot shoe, and then you can just put your thumb on it and it just steadies it a little bit more, and then all the controls can be accessed very easily with your thumb. And if you are using the focus, you can just tap the screen to select your focus point. I tend to use what they call snap focus, so that just puts everything from, let's say, 1.5 meters through to infinity. Just depends on your settings. I tend to put ISO on auto when I'm using this one, but for this particular trip I didn't have it on snap focus. I just wanted to try it by focusing, just to see how it came out really. Just a few things to get used to. this little dial at the front here, this changes your aperture, and then at the back you've got this one just here, if you can see that. You just move it to the left or to the right, and that adjusts your shutter speed. So it's not a dial, it's just a matter of moving it to the left or the right. But then also this dial is good for exposure compensation, so you can just bring your thumb down and just increase or decrease your exposure. So if you think, oh, that's a bit bright, rather than changing all your other settings, you can just increase or decrease. I do find actually when you start getting to the higher levels of ISO that it is a bit noisy on this particular camera, but it has got image stabilization, which you can switch off if you need to, but generally it stays on. They call it sensor shift shake reduction. I've got a few settings at the top, some user settings. I don't know if you can see that. Let's just show you there. And I tend to have user 2 for my black and white. So on there I've got black and white, my snap focus, so that I can just quickly go over to that if I want snap focus rather than having to set it up. I've already preset it. So actually quite a nice little camera. The thing I like about it is it really is one-handed, and people don't really notice you with this one, so it's quite a discreet little camera. But having said that, the only occasions I tend to use this is when I'm with somebody that's perhaps not out there taking photos. I'm just with them, so I can just wander along, take some photos. I tend not to be always geared up with all my action camera. On this particular occasion I left it at home anyway, so I couldn't use it. And also this is a great little go-to camera, you know, if you're just popping out and you think, oh, I don't want to take a big bag with me or anything, you can just slip this into your pocket. It's a lovely size. Just look how that sits in my hand there. But you won't get me not using this one. The Canon M50 Mark II is my favourite at the moment. The Canon M50 Mark II and the Canon M6 Mark II are my main two cameras that I've got lots of lenses for, so there's lots of videos for each of those lenses that I've done. I've got this camera and the OM5 system camera, which is a lovely little camera. One of the downfalls I find with this one, I mean, it's designed for street photography and they haven't made it waterproof or showerproof or dustproof, which is a shame really, because you know that's when a lot of people like to go out in the rain in doing street photography. But likewise my Canon M50 Mark II, this is not splash proof or waterproof or dust proof either. So this, I've got a bag, like a plastic bag type cover that I can put over the top of this, that's designed specially for it, but it's cost about £2, you know, and then when that is ruined and I've used it a lot, I can throw it away and get another one rather than spending too much on covers. I've got some photos to show you with this one. You've seen some of my warm-up photos so far. Let's have a look at the rest of them and hopefully they come out okay. I think they did. Some I've put into black and white, some I've got a bit of artistic work there where I've put the background in black and white and let's say reflections into colour. If you've got any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below, or any comments you'd like to make. And if you'd like to see more with either this camera or my M50 Mark II, M6 Mark II, or it's not Olympus anymore, it's OM system, it's the OM5, and I've got about 3 lenses for that, 3 or 4 lenses, so I could go and do some more videos on that. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the rest of these photos, and I look forward to seeing you on my next trip out. if you did enjoy that video, please remember to give me the thumbs up. It does help the channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing and clicking that notification bell so that you don't miss future videos. And I look forward to seeing you on my next trip.